We are fortunate that we have a living legend like Sri M, who's amongst us to discuss his autobiography with us, which actually has so many absolutely strange incidents that to many people it might feel unbelievable, yes, but to me it is definitely not. And like that of autobiography of a yogi, of Paramahansa Yogananda ji, of its own times, while that book talks about a lot of mystical experiences of him on the planet, on this land, this book actually has a lot of focus on Sri M's journey in the Himalayas. And this book ends in this magnificent meeting of Sri M with 5 gurus together. Does that mean, Sri M, now the question is coming to you, that Shiva is now revealing himself to us through you? And if that is, what is its meaning at this point of time, and what is the message?
Well, when you say Shiva, if you're talking about Shankara, who sits in the Himalayas with a snake on his neck and a crescent moon on his head, Somashekara. Well, that's a manifestation of Shiva as a yogi, Mahayogi. And people ask, what is Shiva meditating upon? You know? Because his eyes are closed, he sits in a meditative posture, and it seems to be in a contemplative state. So what is Shiva? So this concept of a Mahayogi, which you see in the figure of Shiva, actually is meditating upon the essence of Shiva, which is called Shivam.
Okay.
Now, if you ask me what is Shivam, Adi Shankara beautifully described it in his Nirvana Shataka, when he said, Shivananda Rupam Shivaham Shivaham, which means I am of the nature of bliss and consciousness. I am Shivam, I am Shivam. So, the whole purpose of Shiva depicted as a Mahayogi, with his physical eyes closed and the third eye open in the Ajna, is for human beings to understand that in the depths of their consciousness, they are not different from Shiva, because it is an all-pervading reality. Now, I have been sent for a certain work to be done. I am my son and Babaji's slave. I do his work. So he said, it's not easy for people to tangibly go and see Shiva in the Himalayas, Kailash. He said, present and manifest that Shivam, which is the all-pervading supreme reality, which the Upanishad refers to as Isha Vashyamidam Sarvam, that which pervades everything. Isha. My job is to present this to ordinary people. Well, I am also an ordinary person. So look, I dress like anybody else. When I go abroad, I wear jeans and t-shirt. Because Westerners don't want to see robes. You know? But so to different way of projecting the reality of Shiva.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of confusion when it comes to Shiva. In our country, I believe Shiva has been projected as this very big renouncer, you know, who's renouncing the world and is living somewhere in an esoteric world. But I do believe that people who have read the Shiva Purana, Shiva has romanced his wife. He's gotten married twice. You know, he married Sati, and she reincarnated as Parvati. He has children. He has friends from all walks of life. So I would like you to talk to the younger generation of this country that you don't really have to renounce everything to find truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you say renunciation, it's nothing to do with externals.
Absolutely.
Renunciation is when you realize, there are 2 kinds of sannyas. One is sannyas taken to find the truth. The other is sannyas taken when you have found the truth.
Right.
Now that is important because sannyas, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes sannyas beautifully. He says, a sannyasin is one who has some control over his senses.
Control over senses.
His senses.
Yeah.
Not indulge at all, but to have some control over his senses. And who can live sarvatra samabuddhaya, which means be tranquil under all circumstances. Because this world is full of joy and sorrow. You can't stop one and enjoy only the other. Or you can't stop all enjoyment and only suffer. It's impossible. The world is like that. Situations arise. Sometimes you enjoy, sometimes.
And you yourself are married and you live a grahastha life, right? So, was there a message? This is primarily the message, right?
Look, I also in my youth was so enthusiastic about becoming a sannyasi that I tried many times. But Babaji was clear that he was not married, but he was very clear that I should get married, live in this world, work for a living. I still do.
Yes.
I paint, I sell the paintings, I work for a living. And yet prove that the presence of Shivam, the definition of the word Shivam in the Sanskrit dictionary is auspiciousness.
Right.
So naturally, auspiciousness does not come with giving up everything. Auspiciousness is physical, material as well as spiritual.
Right.
So to prove that it runs through all these three states is my job.
Right.
I look normal, but I don't think I'm normal.
What does that mean?
I present a facade of normality because then people can relate to me.
You've been living in a facade for a long time, so I'll give you a reference, and no, with due respect, that your lineage is Pathani, right? That's what I read about you. You have the Afghani genes running in you. You're a Hindustani.
No, not Afghani, Peshawari.
Peshawari, from somewhere in the geography called Afghanistan now.
Can I remind you that Panini, the great, who wrote the grammar,
Right.
Ashtanga and so on,
Right.
was a Pathan from
Pathan.
Peshawar.
Exactly. And
Gandhari came from Kandahar.
Kandahar. Exactly.
So, nowhere in my spiritual journey has anybody discriminated against me.
Wonderful.
Because this is the culture of this country.
Beautiful.
This is the essence of this country. The only question the teachers asked was, are you serious?
Are you serious? Yes.
Okay. Are you serious? Do you want to dwell in it?
Yes.
And it was one of them who changed my name to Shiva because he said, let's not create problems unnecessarily. I didn't change my name.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was never asked about this, but they were closely watching me to see if I was serious in my spiritual search, and that's all that mattered. So I adopted this name, Shiva Prasad, given to me by somebody in Haridwar. But later on, and also then I went later on to the Ramakrishna mission, and they also called me Shiva Prasad. But when I met Babaji, and when he initiated me, Maheshwarnath Babaji, who belonged to the Natha Sampradaya,
Yes.
even though he was a disciple of Babaji. Now the teachings of Mahatar Babaji, who we call Sri Guru,
Guru Babaji.
and the Nath Sampradaya are not very different.
Right.
I'm talking about the real teachings of Gorakhnath,
Correct.
Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati, Goraksha Shataka and so on. They're not very different.
Yes.
So when Babaji initiated me into the Nath Sampradaya, he named me Madhukanath. You have to have a Nath and have to wear rings.
Yes, you do mention that in the auto.
So that's how the Madhu M came.
Yes.
So when people say M, call me M. Sri, well, you can use Sri because it is better than saying Mr. M.
Right.
So it means one, the first letter of my name, which is Mumtaz. Madhukarnath, the name which Babaji gave me, which I consider most important, because I still belong to the Sampradaya. I've broken free from some of its outward manifestations, but I am. And Nath means we believe that the Supreme Being is the Nath, is the Lord,
is the Lord.
Else. And He dwells in our hearts. So deep down we are Nath. So that is the one, the other M, which is very important. Lastly, the word for a human being in Sanskrit is Manushya.
Oh yes.
And in Hindi it is Manav.
Manav. What starts with M?
So when people call me M, I'm very happy. I'm a Manushya. I have no affiliation. Although I belong to the Nath, I can't deny that. But really, truly speaking, I'm like anybody else. I'm a human being.
Right.
So, this is Shriya.
Right. So, in your autobiography, obviously we'll go deeper into the chapters. But what I learned personally as the biggest lesson was kindness. So we talk about love, we talk about compassion, but we all make silly mistakes. And you made one when you hurt the devotee. And Babaji came and said, you have to now go back to earth and take a human form. Well, thanks for doing that, because you wrote this book for us.
I didn't do that. I told Babaji, whatever you say, I do.
I do. So does that also mean, since now that you're in this incarnation, do you tell us that that kindness is the only way to stay away from the suffering and stay away from the pain?
Not only. First, we should understand that this whole world is looking for something which is not sorrow. Who is looking for sorrow?
Nobody.
But sorrow is incidental in this world. As long as you live in this world, you cannot be only happy.
Correct.
There is also sorrow. You have to accept it at part. Now we have a beautiful statement in the Vedas, which is Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamādāya Purnameva Avashishyate, which means that source from which we have come is actually Purna, complete, fulfilled, eternal. That is the source from which we have come. We now have forgotten that source and we are wandering around thinking that we are not Purna, we are not complete. And the whole of life, if you notice, is human beings attempt to become complete in different ways.
Yes.
Somebody wants to become a film star, somebody
Yeah.
wants to become a politician, somebody wants to become a prime minister, because they think that then they are becoming complete. Unfortunately, they
Yeah.
don't. If they did, then they wouldn't again stretch it to more and more. So that means they still feel incomplete.
Right.
There is competition,
And there's a void.
void. So the attempt is to go back to the source, which is Purna,
Purna.
but the direction is wrong.
And you started going there very early. So I want to read this. When you were very young, you're writing, the silver light that invariably appeared in my heart center during meditation changed that night into orange and then a deep violet. The violet disc expanded and then split in the middle to reveal a Himalayan scene.
Yeah.
And so why I'm reading this is because when I'm talking to young people and they have this desire of having these visions and having these dreams and flashes and all of that. Some of them possibly do LSD to get into something like that. So how does it happen, and how would you actually tell the young people to not really look for this when you are going into meditation, that this is not really the ultimate goal?
No yogi can have as many of these spectacular experiences of light and so on as an LSD addict. Nobody can. So, but that doesn't make the person a yogi.
Correct.
A yogi is one who has managed to keep his mind calm in the midst of all circumstances. And whether as a yogi, his character increases and becomes better. These are the criteria. Because the ultimate experience will not be given to anybody who still lives in a small
Selfish world.
Isn't it? It has to expand.
Yeah.
This is where all the moral rules are there. Yamas and yamas.
Yes. Yes.
Before we reach, you know what?
Purna.
So yamas are essential. You can't suddenly not follow any yamas and reach the highest.
So when you say selfish world, you know, I will also relate it with your book and say that, you know, currently our country, you know, Hindustan per se, has been divided by discrimination, by caste, and by violence. There's a lot of division there. Your book says, you say that, you know, the founder of the Tsunami order to which the mutt belongs was one day walking back from the river after a bath when he was accosted by a tribal hunter accompanied by numerous stray dogs. "Move out of my way. How dare you stand in front of me, you low-born untouchable." And this is a curse to this country. And this country has people who want moksha. Would you tell them that discrimination is not going to lead them to moksha?
Absolutely. And let me tell you something. Suppose somebody is considered a Dalit.
Yes.
Now, if you seriously believe in the Hindu culture, or Hindu philosophy,
Yes.
what is the guarantee that this Dalit was not a Brahmin in his past world? Then you don't believe in the past words, if you say no. It's not as if one is born always in a certain situation repeatedly. Tomorrow, somebody who is a Brahmin could be Brahmin in the sense
Well read.
Well-read.
Yeah.
Yes. Brahma with Brahmeva Bhava. One who understands the Brahman is a Brahman, according to the Sanatana Dharma.
Yes.
What is the guarantee that he was not something else in last birth? If you say no, then you don't believe in last birth.
Yes.
And it is the crux of our philosophy,
Yes.
these births.
Yes.
Repeated births.
Yes, and when we are talking about people, I also want to, because you have mentioned in your book something to do with irresponsible tourism, where I believe that the recent floods in Kedar were a very good message for us to back off and preserve that. So you know, because it's funny that everything was devastated, but the temple of the Shiva in Kedarnath remained as it is. So what would you tell these people who are actually going to these kind of places, and how do they behave, their conduct at such places?
I can't say about other places. These ancient shrines,
Right.
like Kedar,
Correct.
Badri, Pura Kedar,
Right.
Bhavishya Kedar, Bhavishya Badri.
Right.
These are ancient seeds of learning and energy and power.
Correct.
No power on earth can wipe it out.
Right.
You may have earthquakes in the Himalayas, you may have floods, but
Wow.
nobody can wipe it out.
Wow.
Now when you go for a pilgrimage, now what has happened is pilgrimage has become a picnic. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy when you go for a pilgrimage. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you should have a sense of sacredness when you go into one of these
Yes.
sanctuaries of these temples.
Yes.
So my advice to people is enjoy, eat, drink.
Correct. Correct.
Drink meaning water
Yes.
or tea or something. But keep this in mind that you're not going on a picnic. You're going for a sacred purpose. If you miss that, then it's not a pilgrimage.
Right.
And when you go to such places, spend more time not in gossiping or sightseeing, but in situation.
Indulge.
Meditate,
Yes.
chanting, learning the scriptures, Swadhyaya. These are the things to be done in such places.
Right.
Fortunately, what has happened because of commercial compulsions, So many hotels have been built, thousands of hotels on the banks of the river. Those are the ones which lost the maximum number of lives when the floods came.
Yes.
Now I'm hoping that it is under control.
Under control.
Because we had a terrible experience.
Yes. Not there. Let's not do tourism there.
No,
Yes.
tourism is not.
Not for that place.
However, I am very much positive about making beautiful roads with which you can go there.
Yes, of
I
course.
agree with that.
Yeah, for the seekers, for the truth seekers of truth.
So that's the difference between going on a pilgrimage
Yeah.
and just going on a picnic.
Yes, my generation, even we've never read Upanishads, you know. So you're saying that Upanishads, but the priests who feared that the direct no-nonsense teachings of the Upanishads would make people think rationally and make them away from the irrational beliefs and superstitions propagated and popularized by them. Now this is a very big statement because I think all of us, there is a huge message that please go back and read your Upanishads for us, right?
Upanishads
Yes.
are the essence of the Vedas.
Exactly.
They are the essence of the Vedas. They come at the end of the Vedas, so they are Vedanta. Anta
Right.
means end.
And
End. And they are
so Vedanta and Upanishad is
Vedanta
same.
is
Yeah.
Upanishad.
Yeah.
Vedanta has either Upanishads, Brahma Sutras or Bhagavad Gita. All three
All three.
together form the Prasthanatraya, the three parts of the curriculum for a Vedantic student. I
Right.
can go in, but there is no time. But
Yes.
Vedanta means basically that it comes at the end of the Vedas. It also means Veda Anta. Veda means to read.
Yes.
End of all reading.
Right.
Because when you reach there, you don't read anything else. You don't read.
Right. And you're also mentioning a very interesting thing about China and Tibet and Dalai Lama. While we've lost Kailash to the border fights, it's very sad that we are even losing our gods. If all of this is, if religious authorities are misused, why is God quiet?
Because he's testing them properly.
Does that mean?
Definitely. In fact, it is the religious authorities who have to be properly tested.
Right.
Till they really understand the meaning of spirituality and religion. So these are all tests. One shouldn't get bogged down by it. I'm waiting for a time when people truly enter into the understanding of religion. And the problem with India, people say there is a surfeit of religion, too much. That's why we are like this. I said, no. It's because you haven't understood the essence of your religion. So therefore, I am a great advocate of improving the knowledge of Sanskrit. You know,
Yes.
what has happened is Sanskrit is out now. It's considered a dead language. You can see the paradox. Every noun in Sanskrit is made of a verb, action. And how can you call such a language a dead language? And all our ancient scriptures are written in Sanskrit. Not only scriptures, literature, Kalidasa, Valmiki, who's called Adi Kavi, the first poet, epic poet, Aryabhata, mathematics, Shishruta Samhita, Ashtanga Hridaya, Ayurveda, they're all written in Sanskrit. You need not give the religious touch. So isn't it? Why we are in trouble is because we don't know the original and we allow others to interpret it and
It's
they
for
like.
us.
This is the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
So I think there should be mighty Sanskrit universities in this country, non-denominational.
Sanskrit needs to come back.
It has to, because
Fascinating.
otherwise you can't understand the realities, the originalities
Yeah.
of what we have here.
Yeah. And
Because you know who has translated Sanskrit books? Maximum Western.
yes,
Max Muller.
Max Miller.
Sir Monier Williams wrote the first Sanskrit English dictionary.
Right.
Why can't we do something?
Yeah. I think we really need writers in this country, philosophers, writers, thought leaders. We have a huge gap.
Slowly we are shifting
Making.
into only entertainment mode.
Yeah.
And even in spiritual matters, it has become what I could call spiritual entertainment. If you have a spiritual gathering, then There's so many factors in it to keep the person entertained.
Right.
But what about the ignorance?
I think what will keep them also entertained is this little story. I want to read from, may I have the permission? Just this is very interesting. I think that everybody will love it. The fireball, which was about 2 feet in diameter.
Not
split.
entertainment, that's not.
No, not entertainment. I mean to say, like, it's something which is like it's curious. I'm very curious, right? I come from JK, right, JMK, and I have seen these Naga temples forever in my life in abundance, but I had no knowledge whatsoever of their spiritual significance. And unless I read this particular book and this particular paragraph where you're saying it was a large snake with a hood like a cobra, glowing electric blue, as it made a transparent violet glass-like material, electric filaments. Tell us more about that meeting with Nagaraja.
I can't tell you more. Whatever I have seen, I have written comprehensively in the book. Beyond that, I really have no understanding. I can tell you one thing, that I was really frightened to death. That I can tell. Because I was very young and I hadn't understood these matters.
Right.
Because Babaji was there, I survived. Otherwise, I think I might have gone crazy. Because you don't expect such things to happen.
Yeah.
Especially when you come from the south of India, where you are born and brought up in Kerala, where everybody is a skeptic.
Right.
Although Shankara came from there, we have so much of red flags, and I myself was secretary of the Students' Federation of India for some time, which is red.
Right.
So, with that mindset, even with Babaji, I was very skeptical. I regret today in retrospect what silly questions I asked. But I was a critical mind. So, which is why I'm sure that I was not under the influence of any drugs or any such thing, or in a trance when I saw it. I was quite sober. And so I cannot explain it. I only can tell you that Babaji said, this is the person that heads the Nagaloka, and there is a Nagaloka. And he has come for a purpose of discussing something. And then I said, as a human being, Maheshwarnath Babaji is giving advice to somebody in Nagaloka. How is this possible?
Right.
Because he said spiritually they consider me superior.
Right.
So in these galaxies, importance is not given to where you live, but to where you have reached spiritually. So I have a weird theory. Looking at it, researching. We human beings are not just refined apes. I think we, up to a certain level of chimpanzee, and then what is called a Neanderthal man was walking around. We could have advanced as much as we could, but there was a limit to expression. I think the Devas experimented with us. We are a cross of the Devas and humans.
They experimented.
Yes, they carried away some of us. They had relationships, and what was produced, that is the missing link, because they're still looking for the missing link. Are human beings. So we have the characteristics of the gods, and we also have the characteristics of animals. Both are there.
Yes.
That distinguishes,
Very interesting.
That distinguishes us from ordinary other animals.
Yes.
See, I tell you what.
Yes, absolutely.
Look, animals are very intelligent. Cannot deny it. Very intelligent. Sometimes they're very caring to their young. You see how monkeys carry their
Monkeys,
children?
dogs, parrots, they speak.
The only thing they lack is the power to visualize.
Yes, imagination.
Visualize. Sankalpa.
Sankalpa.
This power to visualize, Sankalpa, has been given to us because we are born with it, because we have a small amsha, a little bit of that higher being.
Yes.
And sometimes I read that some of the wars described in prehistoric times, history is not correct, the war between two factions of these guys.
Quite possible.
trying to take over the world.
Yeah, because I believe there has been a recent development and research, and they found a spiritual gene. It's called VMAT3, something like that.
This gene is planted by the Deva. It's not. It's not.
It's out from here.
Look at our gene, our chromosomes.
Yes.
In fact, the chimpanzee has one extra chromosome. We have one less chromosome than the chimp. So actually the chimp should be more intelligent than us. But no, because they took that one out because they had to do something with us.
They had to do something with us. Oh my God, this is like very interesting.
I've not written it in a...
No, you're not. This is nice, very nice that we have. This is a beautiful flow of conversation. I want you to also, obviously, when people read this book, especially the younger generation, and they would seek some kind of enlightenment like that of Sri M. While you're talking about the Kundalini Fire, and they blindfolded you and they took you to this secret place in Kedar. Is it going to be a similar experience for everyone? Not required.
Not required.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have to put their finger into the fire to know that it burns. One person doesn't, we can see it and we take lessons.
Right.
I can tell them with authority.
Okay.
Look here, this is true.
Okay.
Awesome.
So the road to enlightenment could be easy.
Much easier. This is why people like us are made scapegoats and sent. To be, people understand it much easier. I didn't have anybody to tell me this till I met Bhagaji.
Yeah. And you are telling it to us today, so thank you for
I'm
that.
telling you, I'm going, especially young still. I want young.
Yes,
I want an army of young people who understand this man and walk and go out and say, hey, we can lead a perfectly normal life and reach the heights of spiritual experience.
Yes.
This is what I want. I'm trying to work on.
Yes. So before you tell us a little, and I think we'll find out with that, the magnificence of that meeting, I want to ask you this question. This question was not answered by Krishnamurti ji. He's, I don't know if you can answer that. For me, is there something sacred, something long-lasting in India, in this part of the world? And if it is there, why is this part of the world so corrupt?
Because we are going through a phase where we need to discover the limits of material greed.
No.
So we're going through this phase. And I'm fully hopeful with all the work that is happening, visible or invisible, at some time people will wake up and understand the limits of this connection and drop it.
Okay, so that time will come.
Yeah, because we are still in the middle of Kali Yuga. We still, after Krishna disappeared from the scene, Kali Yuga has started.
Right.
Right? So we are only in the middle of Kali Yuga. We need to go further up, little past the middle. So there is much more. So during this time, a lot of churning will take place. When the Samudra Manthan was done, when the churning was done, so when the Devas and the Asuras churned the ocean of milk,
Right.
Amrit didn't come in the beginning.
No.
What came out was poison. And people like us are there to swallow the poison. So it doesn't
Too bad for
so
us.
much.
That's too bad for us, yeah.
Shiva swallowed the poison, so he's called Nilakant because it got stuck here.
Yes.
He didn't go down. So, once this is over, then I'm looking forward to a golden era.
Golden era.
But any golden era, there will be some aberrations, no question.
Yes.
But majority.
Majority. And so coming back to your meeting with Shiva himself, I would call it uniting with Shiva, not really meeting with Shiva. How do we meet him as well? Do we have chance to meet him?
The process doesn't start with going to Kailash.
It
But you
ends-
can go, you can enjoy it, that's a different matter. The process starts internally. As your mind gets more and more purified, then you begin to realize that you're not this body, the mind and all this muck that's there. That we are purely the form of Shiva, ever auspicious, blissful consciousness. Which is that Nirvana Shataka, Chidananda Rupam, Shivoham.
Shivoham, Shivoham.
When you see that, then you can also go to Kailash and see it manifest in different ways. Not before that.
Right.
So we can start here, in us, now, and progress gradually.
Right. So, how many times do you still pass through the walls? And did you take a ticket to Delhi, or you just closed your eyes and you reached here?
So this is one of the things I've been warned against.
You have been, but you have all those cities, right? Tell us now. You haven't.
I prefer not to answer this question, because if I say I have, all the
Then
people
people
who
will come
come to
and show.
retreats will come to become like that.
Oh,
They won't
yeah.
even look at anything spiritual.
Okay.
Look, I didn't look for that.
Yes, it just
In my
happened.
search for the spiritual,
Right.
I chanced upon these. These are not important.
Chanced upon these. Right.
That's why Patanjali, in the Yoga Sutras, there is a chapter on siddhis. Karima, Lagima, Prakti, and so on. There's a chapter. And he gives the warning, watch out. These are not what you're really looking for. But as you go forward, because your mind is becoming sharper, clearer, purer, you might develop extraordinary capacities. But ignore it as much as possible. Unless there is an emergency. Not for
Right.
myself,
Right.
for somebody else.
It's for somebody else.
Or somebody is standing on the edge of a mountain, is about to fall off, and there's no way to escape, and you say, hey, please, then we should help. Not to bandy it about. I don't like people who, and they lose it soon. And when they lose the capacity, then they'll have to resort to tricks. Why go into that in the first place? If today I start producing ash, suppose, you know what a line there will be in the ayashing? People
Yes.
want that. People don't want what I'm trying to do.
Try to tell them.
Believe me, I'm capable of that. You might have seen some videos. I
Yes.
want to do it now. Somebody came and was shooting, and he said, so and so was producing acid. I said, listen, that's not a big deal. It's not so important. Oh, if it's not a big deal, why don't you do it? I said, here. I was shocked. He said, how did you do that? I told him it's a trick, I was hiding the ash. Somebody said, how can you hide the ash? Anyway, so you don't do that. That's not. Then people concentrate on that. You don't
Yes.
look for the reality.
Yes.
Already this world is ashes.
Totally.
As a future point, go to Manikarnika Ghat to see this.
Yes.
My favorite spot in Banaras, I go and sit there. Just watch hundreds of bodies coming in.
Every day.
And it's not gloomy, believe me.
Yeah.
It's a sign of freedom.
Yes. Oh, you are talking about sign of freedom, and you are really endorsing Adi Shankaracharya's soul of the nature is Swatantrata, right? Independence.
Of course.
It's-
That's another thing. Don't think that the Brahman, as defined by Shankara, is something separate from us, which is sitting. No, it's part of everything. So, enjoy. If you see beautiful flowers, don't close your eyes, the world is Maya, I don't want to see this. No, the thing is, when you see the flowers and see the liveliness and the spirit in it, you're enjoying it. You know where the problem starts? When I want to pluck it and put it in my pocket.
Getting
That's where the problem starts. Possession.
possession, obsession.
If the world is beautiful.
The world is free.
You're beautiful. The moment I want to possess you, finished. It's gone. It's done.
Yes.
Misery.
Misery, yeah. So the message is the world is free.
The world is Brahman.
The world is
Sarvang Gitat Brahman
Yeah.
is one of the statements from the Mahanirvana Tantra.
Right,
The whole
right.
world is Brahman.
Right.
So worship it.
Worship it. Thank you, Shriyam, for giving me your time and this beautiful conversation. Youngsters, I think all of you should go and get this book. And like I always say, Shiva is not a religion, he is a philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachna.